Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, was co-written and directed by Rob Reiner, and it follows the character of Marty DeBerge now 40 years after he made the original Spinal Tap documentary, deciding to make another one and reunite them. And it's been about 15 years now since they have seen any of each other. David, Nigel, Derek, they've now gone their separate ways after they were planning to at the end of the previous documentary, but they stayed together for a bit longer. But now they've been separate for a while, and Marty's trying to get them back together. Continuing to utilize that mockumentary format that the first one did so well. I love This Is Spinal Tap. I think it's hilarious, and I know it's not the first one to have that mockumentary style, but really looking back, it seems to be the first to propel it into the mainstream and to lead to other mockumentaries from Christopher Guest and company, and then obviously in television it became a big thing eventually. I typically don't have high hopes for these sequels that are decades after the original, no matter what kind of movie it is. I've just been disappointed too many times by these long-awaited sequels, but with Spinal Tap, I just like that original so much, and I like what they did with that movie. I thought they did it so well, and I had seen some press leading up to this with the three titular band members, those actors in character as them, and thought that was hilarious. And so I was really looking forward to this, and I think it's pretty good, especially considering what it is and the fact that it is one of those kinds of sequels. It gets off to a bit of a rough start in the first half. There are a lot of scenes and moments where they're clearly trying to catch you up on what the band members have been up to, and also refreshing your memory from what happens in the first one. A lot of nods to the camera, so to speak, about when this happened, and they'll show us scenes and moments from that original film. So in a way, I would say you probably don't have to watch the original before going into this one. I recommend that you do because it's fantastic, but if you're afraid about missing something or getting lost while watching it or feeling lost, I think they pretty much got it covered. They'll give you a pretty good synopsis of what happens in that first one, like in the first half of this movie, basically. A lot of the humor at first was hit or miss for me. They tried a little bit more physical humor in certain scenes, more that awkward humor that I think can work and does work sometimes in this movie, but early on, it has a hard time really getting any chuckles from me at all. But what is great in the first half of this film is, once again, the acting, all the performances, especially Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer. First of all, I'm just really glad they're all still alive, and I'm not saying that in sort of a funny way. Like, they're all old, okay? It's great that they're all still here and they can all still be these characters and that they were able to come back for this. I just think that's awesome. The rest of the cast is great too. There are some really funny cameos, some newer characters that I didn't like all of them, but all the acting was still good. Rob Reiner as Marty, of course. They tried to make him a little bit funnier in this one, which I wasn't as big on that as well, but he plays the role just fine, basically playing like a version of himself, and he does good. But at a certain point, like about halfway through, I guess, the humor really starts to be a lot more consistent, and the chuckles and the laughs started coming fairly consistently at a certain point, and so that was nice. I was glad that the movie did end up being mostly pretty funny, especially regarding certain interests of the band members. How Nigel is really into cheese, or Derek has this obsession with glue, and they have some funny gags regarding their hobbies and interests. And something that I really appreciated about this movie that it does, I don't think enough people will mention, but it's very admirable, is that it is actually really different in terms of the story from the first one. they don't just rehash it. They could have easily just done that, like, oh, we're making another documentary about them, so we're going to have all these similar kinds of moments and scenarios for the band members to be in. But no, it's very different. You know, it takes a little bit of time for them to reunite, and then when they do reunite, there's a long period of time before they even play the show. There's a lot of rehearsal, a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on, as opposed to the original where there's a concert, a show, they're playing like, you know, what, every 10 minutes or something. They wrote a new story, they wrote new scenarios for their characters to be in, and I really appreciated that. Speaking of characters, like I said earlier, there were a couple new side characters that I really did not care for at all. They have this new manager, now that they're regrouped, who is a joke in the movie that he doesn't know anything about music or how to manage musicians. It's kind of the joke. And it just wasn't funny. It was really annoying, honestly, how there would be these bits where he would make these suggestions, recommendations regarding the show they're going to put on or how they rehearse, and it wasn't funny. I know the point is that, like, he's dumb, I guess, and he doesn't know anything about music, but it was more of an annoyance than an actual humorous thing for me. Like, I was just annoyed that he was on screen when he was. The actor did fine. The actor did good, but I really was annoyed by the character. Looking back, though, I did honestly like how they structured the plot of this film, even though it was a little bit hard to get through at times in the beginning. I think it was a smart way to write this reunion, and when we do eventually get to this big show, this big concert that they're going to put on at the end, it's actually really cool, and it's really exciting to finally see them performing. And the music is really good too. Of the songs, you know, they're funny, they're ridiculous, but they're actually genuinely good too, I think, and they work for what they are, this kind of satirization of rock music. So in the end, I was pretty pleased with this movie, considering what it is. I think it is a lot better than other types of movies in this genre of sequels with big gaps between itself and the original. And more than anything, it's just really nice to see these three guys still having great chemistry and still embodying their characters so well. And overall, I would rate Spinal Tap 2: The End Continues. And you'll want to stay through the credits as well, because there's some good bits, some funny bits there too. But if any of you have seen Spinal Tap 2, let me know what you thought of it or how you think it compares to the original. I don't think it comes close to the original, but I still think that this is a pretty quality sequel. And that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace out.